If you want to take your hunting skills to the ultimate level, this might be the pocket knife for you. What's up, folks? Just messing around, having a good time. Jacking around with my buddy Brian behind the camera. He and I haven't been out for a while. But I've had a chance, guys, to work with this Ultimate Hunter from Cold Steel for a while now. Now, this is more of a request from you guys. Over and over again throughout the years, you guys have been like, dude, you need to try out that Ultimate Hunter. It's always kind of been on my radar, but I finally got my hands on it, have had a chance to use it out here. Now, I am by no means a hunter. No one will take me out to do it. I have no friends. So, I cannot speak to that. We will test it out. I'll do some like meat and stuff around the house and whatever. Lots of wood processing. We'll do some EDC. We'll talk about all of that today and really break down the design of the Ultimate Hunter, pros, cons, and whether or not it is a good hunting pocket knife, outdoor pocket knife. Can you push it into EDC use? Where are its drawbacks? Where does it excel? We're gonna hit all that with you today. So let's get hunting in an ultimate way as we look at this blade. All right, business time. It's business. It's business time. Time to talk about the blade, business end of this tool. Now we are looking at a CPM S35 VN steel blade. The blade is made, or the knife is put together in Taiwan. I believe that steel is, because of CPM, comes from the US and then they put together in Taiwan. Taiwan always has great fit and finish, good quality, not a communist country, so that's always a positive, those type of things. So that's where the knife is made. I love S35 VN steel because it's rust resistant, holds a good edge, but also easy to maintain out in the field. It doesn't take a lot of effort. In about 5 minutes, if I were to put a little nick in it or something like that, you know, hit a rock by mistake when I'm cutting or something like that, it's not too difficult from all the different tests I've done over the years with S35 VN to put an edge back on it and get that damage out of the tool. So that's a really good positive. I really connect with S35 VN. Now, this is a 3.5 inch overall blade length, and then you're looking at a cutting edge of probably like 3.4 because of that small ricasso there, and it has a maximum thickness of 0.13 down near the thumb studs, and basically handles that all the way down to the tip, which is a very hunter-friendly draw point, I would say, meaning that the tip is precise enough that you can get, you know, piercing tasks done of like everyday carry stuff, meaning around the house, like piercing packaging and things like that. It's doable. It's not as conducive as many other blades out there. The positive to that, though, is if you're using it more as a hunting knife, you're less likely to nick and hit parts of the animal that could ruin the meat, hit the intestines or the stomach and things like that. It's less likely to do that, which is a positive on the hunting side of things. On carrying it around town, it's more of a drawback than it is a help. So that's something just to kind of consider. It's a very tough, thick, durable tip, so you're not going to accidentally break it, which is nice, versus like thin precision tips. And the flat grind or high saber grind that they offer to you with the edge geometry is really nice. It's a wicked sharp, cuts really well, slices really well, regardless if I was doing outdoorsy tasks, making feather sticks and, you know, making notches and those type of things, or if I was doing more around town stuff, you know, cutting cardboard and things like that. The edge geometry was done really well.
Hey, how does this cut meat, Ashley?
Amazingly.
Say that, the other part.
Amazingly. What?
You said before. It's real smooth.
It's really smooth.
Now there is also a 90-degree spine on this, so you can absolutely throw sparks with this tool, which is a good positive. So for all of the blade shape that I'm seeing with this, it's really, in my mind, if you'd ask me, where does it excel? It excels in the outdoors, regardless if you're a hunter or a backpacker or a hiker. As a outdoorsy folder, it's decent around town. It's not the best around town. There are many other tools that I find that I just gravitate to more if I'm around the house. So that's something to consider when you're looking at this tool. Where are you going to be using this the most, in the outdoors, or are you going to be using this more around town? That will determine whether or not the blade will perform best for you. All right, well, let's hit the handle here. What we have is G10 that has kind of a wood grain texture to it. I really like that aspect, really nice. We have an overall length of 5 inches, which is really good. So we have a good beefy handle in its length. I wear large size gloves. You can wear leather gloves, you know, in colder weather climates. Possibly if you are using this as a hunting knife, you can wear those and you'll get a good grip on the handle. It has maximum thickness of 0.62, so definitely on the thicker side. They have rounded the G10, and I would say it's light grit. It's not a heavy grit G10, but they have given you that really nice cut-in right here to kind of give you a little bit of a guard. They've given you that curvature, so even in a reverse grip, when I was doing like chest lever grips, it feels very comfortable. They've scalloped out the sides here, so you can kind of do a pinch grip if you are cleaning game and doing, you know, food processing and that type of thing. And then you do have that really nice blocky jimping, which is what I prefer. I don't prefer sharp, aggressive jimping. So you do have a really good feel for the knife. So it's a very good, rounded, ergonomic, feels really good. The ricasso here is not really set up. It's too short to actually be a choil of any kind. So it does have that ricasso aspect to it. The liners are non-existent. It's just G10, which I've never had an issue with, particularly from Cold Steel. Those have always been good, and that helps because the weight is 4.9 ounces. So under 5 ounces for this big, beefy, outdoorsy kind of folder. It definitely is a nice weight for how big the knife is. Now, something that I notice is on the bottom side here, the transitions are nice and ergonomic and smooth. They've really scalloped the whole bottom of the knife, which is really nice. But then on the top here, it's got pretty blocky transitions. This is a really flat transition all the way along the spine here, and then it just kind of comes up and then stops. So it's pretty abrupt. So I would have liked to have a more natural, particularly because of the idea of the knife, grip to it. It's not something that I really noticed when I was bearing down on it. You're definitely going to notice it more down here, and they really rounded those bottom portions really nicely. But the upper portion being a little abrupt, it would have been nice to see that all the way around. But overall, the ergonomics do feel good in the hand, particularly for a lot of like outdoorsy long-term use because it's thicker, fatter, rounder. Now, the drawback to that is that when you're everyday carrying this, it's pretty beefy in the pocket. It will take up a lot of real estate. So those are just things you need to decide. Are you really just carrying this around town mostly? There might be better, more conducive options that Cold Steel offers. If this is more of an outdoorsy knife and you're using it in the outdoors more often than not, then it will be conducive and there won't be any issue in the girth of its handle. And right now they offer two handle color combinations, black that you see here and high vis orange. So depending on how you're using this, it might make more sense to go with the orange so you don't lose it out in the wilderness. So we'll hit this pocket clip with you, tip up, which is always my preference, really mounted well, very classic to Cold Steel, meaning that the knife will come with two pocket clips. It's not an ambidextrous pocket clip. If you lose one that you don't have mounted, you can't then make it ambidextrous. So I would have liked to see an ambi pocket clip. Cold Steel is starting to do that with more of their designs. This one does not have that though. It is a satin pocket clip. It's got a large lanyard hole for 550 paracord. Rides medium ride, so with gloves on you can pull it out without too much difficulty, and really nice and strong retention against the body. The body being that slick kind of less textured G10 means it's not going to thrash your pocket either, but because of the tension on the pocket clip, it rides really tight in there, so you're less likely to accidentally lose it if you are on a hiking, backpacking, or hunting trip and you are carrying it in your pocket. All right, so we're gonna hit deployment and lock up here. Now we have the classic Cold Steel thumb stud that are on tons of their products, which means that on one side, usually set up for the righty, it is adjusted for that. It does have a flathead screwdriver bit on the opposite side that you can back it out for a lefty. And again, with the ambidextrous pocket clip, it does offer that. It is set up for a righty though, and then you would have to back it out again if you're a left-handed person. So what's really nice is that sometimes Cold Steels are really tough and sticky. This one out of the box, I mean, there's a break-in period. There was not a break-in period with this guy. Even without flicking my wrist, I can get that thing to whip open for how beefy the blade is. I'm pretty impressed with that deployment. Really nice and smooth, and then I can depress the locking mechanism. It drops right away. We have that ricasso that will hit my finger, and I can close it one-handed. So there was zero break-in time with this, which is nice because that's not always been the case with some of my Cold Steels. There's definitely been like a week of me constantly opening, closing, and like banging it. Sometimes it catches, and I have to bang against the back of a counter or something, a couple times until it kind of breaks in. Not the case. Nice, buttery smooth with that. One aspect to the design because it does have the triad locking system, which is nuts. It is arguably, in my mind, the strongest, if not one of the strongest locking mechanisms on the market. I have had amazing success with it over the years and have never had a triad lockback fail on me. Now, what's interesting is when this opens, and I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see it here on frame, it kind of looks almost like it is kicked down slightly and is not totally flush with the handle design. You know, it kind of almost looks like it's doing more of like a rainbow a little bit and kind of a curve. Now, normally that wouldn't be an issue, and it may be even designed for just better ergonomic cutting. But the ricasso has not been brought in at all, so you see this little bit of ricasso hanging out right here, and then it kind of is just a millimeter, maybe even half a millimeter, not flush with the G10. You can kind of see that with the lockback as well. And then the lockback back here is kind of depressed slightly, but when you close it, then it's flush again. So at first I was concerned, oh my gosh, is this just kind of like a fluke? You know, is this just you know, it's a production knife? Maybe it wasn't milled quite deep enough back here to make it go flush and lock in, but the lockup is rock solid. So I actually went and purchased a second one to see what that was. I reached out to Cold Steel. I said, hey guys, is there like an issue here? Is it not fully engaging? You know, they were like, it looks right, you know, and I looked on the many websites, watched other videos. I purchased the second one. The second one is exactly like this. So I believe it's kind of designed this way. There's no lockup issues whatsoever. It's just it's something that I noticed that is odd, that it's not flush right here with the G10 and it kind of kicks down slightly with the design. Some of my other Cold Steels don't do that. So it must just be a design critique or a design that they decided to go with, and I would have liked to have it more flush, basically, is just all I'm saying. Just a more flush look to it. It's fully functional, and multiple ones have been like that for me, and even on the photos, they seem to be that way in other videos. So just a point, if you see that, don't think that there's something wrong with your knife. That's just the way it's been designed. We got a super thick, strong stop pin right there as well. But when it comes to lockup deployment, it's very smooth, smoother than even some of my other ones I've gotten over the years, and rock solid lockup like you know from the triad locking system. So up to this point, we've been focusing on this knife. And my thoughts on it, for the price, for what you're getting, the materials, I think a better name for this would be the Lonely Hunter. Because unless you are really focused on hunting and hunting only, and you're wanting a good ergonomic, good steel, good designed folder, I feel like that's where it shines, and that's really only where it shines. Because for me, for a competitive option that fits more needs, the Cold Steel Bush Ranger would be my choice over the Ultimate Hunter on basically every level, except when it comes to skinning and gutting and doing game processing. Because of the more precision in the tip, there is a higher probability of nicking things that you wouldn't want to, intestines and guts and stuff like that, on an animal that you might be cleaning. Other than that, the ergonomics, I feel, are better on the Bush Ranger. They're completely contoured. I love the clipped swedge on the front end, better for piercing and EDC or self-defense rolls. It still has the 90-degree spine. It just really works. The choil actually is, the ricasso functions as an actual choil. The ambi pocket clip, like I was talking about a little earlier, it's gonna cost you about $40 more. The Ultimate Hunter runs around $100. This Bush Ranger will be more like $130 to $140. But I feel like overall, unless you are looking at it purely as like an outdoor hunter, backup outdoor folder, the Bush Ranger just has a lot more capability for not much more money. You're still getting the exact same steel, G10 handles, all of that going for it. So for me, guys, between the two, I would go with this one. And this, I think, is a lonely niche of hunting first and everything else falling pretty far behind in its capability. Now, throughout this video, we will have links for you guys over to Amazon, Blade HQ, GP Knives. We appreciate when you purchase through these hyperlinks. Now, I did request this Ultimate Hunter from Cold Steel. They did send it over to me so I could test it out, review, give you guys my feedback, my feeling on it, so that you can make a choice. Maybe you're totally wrong. Maybe you're like, dude, the Bush Ranger fell off the ugly tree and hit every branch going down. That's not how I feel about it. Maybe the Ultimate Hunter really connects with you and it's exactly what you're looking for. Maybe it's not. But that's what I want to do in this video, is give you guys the data points, show you what I find in it, what I connect with. And I feel like I connect a little bit more with the bush ranger, and it just has, to me, more capability overall, particularly me not being a hunter. So that's where I fall, that's where I land. Hopefully it helps you guys out make a wise decision. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. We really appreciate it when you guys check us out through all of that and follow along. You can see behind the scenes stuff and up and coming projects we're working on. And check out that other video popping up. Subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. And always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. We'll see you out there.